Coming off of a win from our Week 2 game in the MDA, the Doubles Draft League we're currently playing in, we're taking on Cherry Mancake, coach of the Philadelphia Melmetal's, in our Week 3 game of this league. I'm hoping to win another match, and if you guys enjoy and are excited for more Doubles Draft League content, of course, let's hit 30 likes in today's video, and make sure to hit the subscribe button with notifications on so you guys can stay up to date for future MDA content. With that said though, Cherry's team is probably the scariest one we currently fought all season, with a team consisting of Annihilate, Tornadus, Chiyu, Hatterene, Gastrodon, Copper, Aja, Rotom Frost, and Lurantis, with Tera Pokemon being Annihilate and Tornadus. I do think Cherry's team of the three definitely has the least amount of flaws, though one area where thankfully Cherry did end up messing up a little bit is in the lack of another abuser outside of Chiyu for Tailwind. Now, Annihilate isn't exactly terrible in Tailwind, it's just not a Pokemon that's really going to thankfully take advantage of my team, so I do anticipate that Cherry will instead go for a very slow route, banking on Pokemon like Hatterene and Copper Aja for the win, and maybe even Lurantis here, as I do think Lurantis isn't terrible. Overall, Cherry's team definitely does end up slower than mine, but I did build in a way to where I can both deny Trick Room if I need to, and also outright take advantage of it. And starting off with this, we do have Gholdengo with the Choice Specs Tera Water moveset. Tera Water is great for checking Pokemon like Chiyu while getting rid of our weakness to Annihilate, which should be pretty valuable. We do have Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Tera Blast, Water, and Focus Blast with the choice specs. I do creep all the way up to Adamant, Impish, Careful, Annihilate, really whatever non-speed boosting nature that it could run, since I do anticipate that Annihilate will go a bit bulkier. I couldn't creep Modest Chiyu unless it was a slower Modest Chiyu, so I didn't even bother trying to play that creep war, and overall this Gholdengo should be able to just dent through Cherry's team as well as possible, since the only check that Cherry does have to ghost on this entire draft is going to either be Terastal or Chiyu, and Chiyu doesn't exactly want to take a Tera Blast Water, especially from a Pokemon like Gholdengo. Moving on, we do have Iron Jugulis, which should be a really good Tailwind setter in case if I can deny Cherry's Trick Room. We have Tailwind, Earth Power, Dark Pulse, and Protect, with our speed creeping all the way up to Timid Chiyu since we do have the booster energy speed, meaning that I can even outpace a Scarf Chiyu no matter what. I have 196 special attack just to try and ensure that I do have the speed boost while making sure that I hit as hard as possible, with the remaining 120 EVs going into HP just for general bulk here. Moving on, we do have a Mental Herb Glaceon that's going to be leaning into support this week, with Helping Hand, Yawn, Freeze Dry, and Protect. I was initially going to go with the 4 status move set and ditch Freeze Dry for Haze, however, after consulting some people, they ultimately agreed that having Freeze Dry for Pokemon like Torn and even potentially Gastrodon if need be, would be the smarter choice here. And I do lean heavily into Spadef for this, to try and take on Pokemon like Hatterene as well as Tornadus and Rotom Frost a bit easier, since Annihilate and Raj are both going to OHKO me anyway. Moving on, we do have Diancie with the Light Clay this week with Reflect, Light Screen, Diamond Storm, and Trick Room, with our spread allowing us to ensure that we are guaranteed 3-8 KO'd by Chiyu, and the rest of our investment going into Fizz Def here, which should hopefully help with taking on Pokemon like Copper Aja if we do have a Reflect up, assuming that we also potentially get Diamond Storm boosts. Overall, this is a decent Trick Room threat, and it's going to take a lot to actually take on the physical hits, but ultimately it can at the very least be a nice Trick Room mon in case if I need to reverse Trick Room that my opponent might set. Moving on, we do have Rillaboom with Grassy Glide, Sword Stance, High Horsepower, and Protect. I leaned heavily into attack here as well as my Spadef and HP because most Cherry's mons are especially offensive, and I figured that I could use the attack with the 80 investment Adamant to ensure that Pokemon like Rotom Frost and Hatterene and Gastrodon were all very easily taken care of by Grassy Glide and High Horsepower. Speaking of, my investment should allow me to guarantee KO Copper Aja +2, meaning this Pokemon cannot thankfully get off a strong hit against me as long as I keep my Pokemon alive. And with the Tera Fire, this should hopefully help with taking on Chiyu a lot easier since I don't really need a Tera type like Water like I did on my Gholdengo. Finally, we do have an Iron Hands with Wild Charge, Drain Punch, Detect, and Sword Stance. Now you might be wondering why I'm running Power Anklet if I was initially banking on trying to stop my opponent from getting up Trick Room to begin with. And this is my nice anti-Trick Room measure because with my Iron Hands, I should actually outpace all the way down to Hatterene even if my opponent gets up Trick Room. My play would typically end up being to go for a Sword Stance plus Screens with Diancie, and then have my Iron Hands already at the +2, and then by the time my opponent has set Trick Room, Iron Hands is already comfortable to just blow through my opponent's team and completely eviscerate anything that my opponent would prepare with no way to actually reverse my Trick Room. With that said though, the Rhino's going to be on screen here if you want to try the team out yourselves. Again, cannot be used on the in-game ladder because of the fact we do have Diancie, and with that said, let's get started with the battles. And we're here. Really quick, I forgot to open my team on the side. That's probably pretty important. Okay, so I need to figure out my lead. I think I just lead off with, probably with like, game 1. I feel like I just lead off with Jugulis, and
I think I just lead off with Jugulis, and I have Fake Out on hands, right? I go with Jugulis, Rillaboom. I'll go with hands, and I'll go with Dance. No, I'll go with Gholdengo, I think. Yeah, Gholdengo should be fine. Okay, good luck, have fun to my opponent. I completely forgot to do any sort of match analysis in the pregame, but that's fine. I was asking my opponent if they wanted to do stats, and then I was loading up my note-taking doc, and then I kind of just forgot. So, good luck, have fun to my opponent at the very least. We're going to see how this goes. I'm pretty confident. Annihilate Patterine as the lead. Okay. Game 1, lead. Game 1. So Ape is Tera Steel, Torn is Tera Flying. That is the typings that we'll have to deal with in this match. Honestly, not too bad. Ape getting Tera Steel doesn't really actually hurt any of my prowess in this matchup, in all honesty. And I think I can realistically take advantage of my opponent pretty comfortably. We get Booster Speed proc. That's not a huge deal. Hatterene will probably go for Trick Room this turn. So I think I'm going to try and just take advantage of Hatterene. I don't really mind if Ape goes for Tera, in all honesty. Versus, let me really quickly clear custom spreads. Let's see, delete custom spreads. Yes, that's fine. Okay, I should have done this before the game, just like with the last time. Again, very prepared here. But okay. So we still have a little bit of time, thankfully, to make this calc. My custom spread versus Hatterene. Grassy Glide does an okay amount of damage. It's not great, but I can honestly set up a Sword Stance here. And then I think I'll just go for a Dark Pulse into the Hatterene. Just for some nice chip, because realistically, this should be a good turn to set up. If my opponent goes for like a Mystical Fire this turn, that's honestly fine, because that means that my opponent is not going for Trick Room. I can also flinch my opponent potentially, obviously, with this, which works out well for me. Thankfully, Hatterene is not going to be immune to that unless if it's Covert Cloak, which should be fine. I'm honestly not really too concerned with Covert Cloak Hatterene, because it just means that Corn can't avoid a Fake Out, which just means that my opponent didn't prep for that. This Hatterene now does die to Grassy Glide, which I'm perfectly okay with. Meanwhile, I can also just still Massacre. Ooh, they're gonna go for Gleam. Gleam is very fine, because I can go for Tailwind here. Tailwind will open up my later game, obviously, which I'm very okay with. I could also just go for Dark Pulse into Ape. Like a Dark Pulse plus Tantrum would probably kill Ape. But I think I'll go for Tailwind for now, and then I'll just go for Grassy Glide and just pick off the Hatterene. Because Hatterene is kind of a threat if it gets Trick Room up. And that does make Raj a lot scarier. Though, with the Tailwind this turn, I should guarantee also not only kill the Hatterene, which is going to be great for me, but I can also then proceed to win off of later turns against Pokemon like Chiyu, for example, which should be beneficial. Ignore the TV turning off in the background. That's for my Pi. That's my Pi monitor that timed out. But anyway, so this Glide should be great in Hatterene. It stops any sort of Trick Room next turn. If my opponent goes into Raj, Torn, or Chiyu, I'm not really too concerned because my Tailwind is guaranteed here. And then I can Tera around them sufficiently. We do know that Hatterene and Annihilate are here. Hatterene does die. Perfect. Okay. So you know this has Dazzling Gleam. That is good information. Frankly, the Glide, the crit there didn't really matter a lot, in all honesty. Though I am kind of curious about, not Hydreigon, Iron Jugulis with Dazzling Gleam. Okay, this looks like it's just a non-offensive item Hatterene. Like, it did a considerable amount of damage. Right, level 100. Hatterene versus Iron and Jugulis. So this brought us down. It was around like 300 damage. Yeah, that could just be like literally it could be Covert Cloak in all honesty. But again, no real specific item calcs that we get from that. So we're pretty set. The Dark Pulse with the crit, yeah, that just lines up with max HP. My guess is it's not Pixie Plate. It might be Expert Belt. No, it's not Expert Belt. It can't be Expert Belt. Okay, so this is fine though. This is very fine. I'm gonna proceed to go for the dual target into Chiyu here, because with my Tailwind up, I should comfortably outpace. We have 2 turns of Tailwind. Meanwhile, my opponent has just Grassy Terrain. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna go for Tera Fire though. Again, my goal is just to kill the partner spot for Annihilate, because Annihilate is the scary threat here. Now, I will Tera Fire. This is specifically in case of Chiyu potentially taking a hit that I don't anticipate it to take. But I would rather just be safe. I'm hoping I didn't miss like an Air Balloon or something. That would be really embarrassing because I hit it with 2 ground moves this turn. But it's mostly just in case of like a Scarf Chiyu, for example, or like a Berry Resist, or really whatever could maybe be in the way. Iron Jugulis only did half. That's actually kind of crazy. Versus Chiyu. Actually, that could just be Bulky Chiyu, and honestly, that rolls perfectly for Bulky Chiyu. But okay, so Chiyu is dead. We don't really have a lot of information about it, but Chiyu is dead. Jugulis and Rillaboom leads off for a phenomenal turn 1. We've killed the Chiyu, we have killed the Hatterene, and Rillaboom has popped its Citrus now, which is great. We have revealed that we have Tantrum on Horsepower on our set. Again, my goal is just to kill the partner spot. Realistically, I think it's my best benefit here. Now, I will say that Raj probably screams to be the AV Mon here. We know it's not Chiyu. It can't be Chiyu. It took the hit too unwell. So I think I just go for, again, the dual target into Raj, because that just kills Raj. And again, Ape is not at all threatening. They go for Protect. Okay, so they're not aping. That's good information, actually. So Cherry probably scouted out the fact that I am targeting the other spot here. Perfectly fine. Again, I don't really mind losing either of these Pokemon here, in all honesty. It should be pretty beneficial for me, too. Now, I can get up a Tailwind on the following turn, which should be good. They're going to go for Bulk Up on 8. Okay, not really a huge deal. What I'll probably end up doing is I'm probably going to go for like a Tailwind and Protect, just to get in some other Pokemon realistically, because anything else I think will be more beneficial into my opponent. Let's see. So, okay. So we have one more turn of Tailwind. That's perfect. Yeah, I can kill the Roger with that. So we're going to go for Earth Power here, and then I'm going to go for High Horsepower here, and then I'm just going to kill. Because even if it's Shuckle Berry, that should kill. Perfect. It's not Shuckle Berry. I don't even know if this is AV. Oh, wait, no, it's definitely not AV. We've ruled that out. Okay, perfect. So, perfect. Okay, so at this point, it's just Ape. Ape is kind of in a 1v4 situation here, where it's not going to kill Rillaboom even, which is great. I am going to go for Tailwind plus Grassy Glide. The Grassy Glide is more so just to... Actually, I'll go for Tailwind and Protect. No, I am going to go for it. I could also swap. No, I don't really think I need to. I am going to go for Protect here, just in case my opponent goes for like a Tera this turn. But Tailwind plus Protect should be good. I do still like Rillaboom on the field, even without my Tera, frankly. Even without my terrain, frankly, just because it's a good mon overall. We are going to see Drain Punch go off into Rillaboom. That's perfect. Because now that means I do get a really free turn with Dark Pulse plus High Horsepower. This should essentially account for both pre and post Tera, and I'm very fine with that. Or I could also just go for Grassy Glide. I think I'm going to go for Horsepower, just because that accounts for if my opponent goes for Tera Steel here. Not that they really have to. They honestly kind of just lose. But it's still good to have. So we do about half with this. That's perfect. They're going to go for Rage Fist. Honestly, very fine with it. Because my opponent can only kill so much of my team. And frankly, I think I'm about to nuke my opponent anyway. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Misty Explosion. If my opponent clicks Drain Punch, they're not going to kill enough of my team. So I should be fine here. Actually, hold on. Right, I don't have that. I have Gholdengo. It's still honestly fine. I just click Shadow Ball. I click Spec Shadow Ball, and I claim my kill. So it is Rage Fist, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Protect. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So we also know it's leftovers, which is great. Okay, so we're gonna go for a Dark Pulse here, and I'm gonna go for a Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball guarantees the kill. I have no reason to go around, because Spec Shadow Ball should guarantee kill. Okay. So, yeah, at this point, my opponent just kind of... We're just kind of waiting out my opponent, in all honesty. There's not really a lot they can do, because they can't outsell my Tailwind. No matter what, my Gholdengo should always win this. It specs. It's going to just guarantee the kill on 8. There's nothing you can do about that. And then again, even if it goes for like a Tera Steel here, it cannot kill the combination of my Pokemon. Let me just make sure that Tailwind still has one more turn. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'll go for the Dark Pulse, and then I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here. If my opponent gets a dual Protect, I will actually switch out Gholdengo next turn and sack it just to get up the Tailwind, because having Gholdengo around will be more important than having Jugulis around, or whatever hands can do. And realistically, again, Gholdengo is my key piece here, so I cannot let it just get Rage Fisted, because that is the only way I actually lose this game. My opponent is going to go for Tera here, perfectly fine. They've now opened up the Earth Power to actually guarantee the kill. So again, even if Dark Pulse plus Shadow Ball for some reason cannot pick off Annihilate, I'm still perfectly fine, because hands with Jugulis should guarantee the job. Dark Pulse is going to go off here. That still does a considerable amount, in all honesty, and then yeah, Shadow Ball should pay. Perfect. So my opponent's not gotten a 4th Mon out of me, which is huge. Thankfully, we did manage to kill here, so that works out well. They Tera the Ape, which, I mean, makes sense. Because, again, why would they Tera? I mean, they can't Tera anything else, and at least that kind of helps with maybe taking a 50-50 if for some reason I wasn't like a spec setter, or if I wasn't super offensive Gholdengo, because they don't have that information. So, good game 1. We did end up winning, which is really good for us. I think we played that game pretty perfectly. Realistically, I think game 2, no matter what, again, my plan is always disregard the Annihilate. I think it works out best for me that way. So, we'll just have to see what happens. Good luck and fun to Cherry going into game number 2, though. I feel pretty confident with the matchup. Gastron cannot come against this team. It just doesn't do enough. The fact that I haven't revealed my Trick Room route as well is really huge because that's a great piece of information I now have to bluff with the Macho Brace. So I'm pretty set here. I might even lead off with Trick Room. I feel like that could be a really good way around my opponent. Going with like Iron Hands plus Tianzi here even could be kind of good. Though I think if anything, so looking at their team, last time they led off with Hatterene and Annihilate. So I think my play might actually even just be leading off with Diancie and Jugulis, because they don't know my last mon anyway. And I could go with like Rillaboom and Gholdengo here. And I think that kind of gets me some nice positioning too, because I do think their adjustment is leading off with Chiyu and trying to pop an early Tera, just getting some nice offensive pressure against my build, which I'm perfectly fine with in all honesty. They don't really pressure me that well anyway. Even with Hatterene on lead, I still feel comfortable just maybe going for like a screens, and then Rillaboom should just snowball a team with or without Trick Room out. So I think I'll go with this. If they do go for like an immediate Trick Room, I'm still kind of fine with that because again, my goal should always just be to pressure Hatterene. I think turn 1, that is always my game plan. And even if I do need to miss out on Trick Room to do so, I feel pretty justified in my call. What I'll probably end up doing with Diancie is going for Light Screen turn 1 if Hatterene leads. I think really unless if they're going to go with Gastron Hatterene. So they bring Gastron. That's interesting as fuck. Okay, that's super interesting. I'm actually kind of shocked because I feel like Gastron has no matchup into my team, especially without Tera. This mon is actually super ass. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go for the Dark Pulse, and honestly, just Dark Pulse Hatterene, and then I'm gonna go for a Light Screen here. Like, I feel like Light Screen is always really good into my opponent as well. I could even just go for like a Diamond Storm just for damage on Hatterene, but I don't really know if I need to. I think that going for Light Screen and just taking Hatterene hits better, as well as Gastron for that matter, because I don't see it having like stomping, like any sort of physical attacks here. Realistically, none of the physical moves Gastron gets are valuable. So I feel like this is always just the better play for my opponent. It's just going for like an Earth Power or even an Ice Beam with Gastron, and then going for like a Gleam. And I could take both those hits very easily while outpacing my opponent with both mons. So I think that's my call. Dark Pulse obviously can also flinch Hatterene, which means we could stop Trick Room that way if it isn't Covert Cloak. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Light Screen does pop though, and then Jugulis Dark Pulse just goes in, of course, because it's Jugulis Dark Pulse. And then we do see the Ice Beam proc. That's perfect. We take that pretty comfortably actually. And then we'll take the Gleam. Oh, they're gonna go for Trick Room. Okay, Trick Room is still fine. I'm not really phased by Trick Room in any way, shape, or form. What I'll do is I'm gonna go for a Dark Pulse here. Or actually, I'll go for a Protect here just in case, because now they'll be able to kill my Jugulis, and I do kind of like it on the field. And then I'm going to go for a Trick Room of my own, because getting rid of their Trick Room is huge. And then I can proceed to go for Diamond Storm plus Dark Pulse, and that will hopefully pick off Hatterene. Or worst case scenario, again, Gastron and Ice Beam we know does not kill, so I should be fine in that regard as well. So we do go for the Protect here. I'm anticipating that Gastron might even just go for like a Yawn this turn into DNC, which I'm kind of fine with. Nope, they just go for Raw Ice Beam. Okay, perfect. So Hatterene cannot kill me. No matter what Hatterene does, it cannot kill me. And having the anti-Trick Room here is huge, because I'll take nothing from this Gleam. It's probably going to do around like 40 or 50 damage, like as a whole, because I'm meant to take on hits from like Chiyu, and this mon is not offensive. Perfect, okay. So Thea, of course, reversing the Trick Room is great for us. Diamond Storm plus Dark Pulse should pick off Hat now, and there's not really a lot that it can do to stop me. So we're just going to go for, yeah, the Diamond Storm plus the Dark Pulse here, and we're going to pick off Hatterene. If I have to get like Frozen or just Ice Crit or whatever that Gastron might do, I'm okay with that. It's not really a huge threat to my team, and Rillaboom can just come in and start snowballing it. And no partner spot that my opponent has besides Chiyu will actually change that. And even still, if I have to burn a Tera, I have to burn a Tera. I'm very okay with that. Because Gholdengo just does not need Tera against this team, and they have not been playing the team in a way, or bringing the mons for that matter, that would have forced Gholdengo to Tera. I think it's always Tera Rillaboom here. So my opponent's going to go for Helping Hand into Gastron. That's actually interesting. I do like the play a lot, actually. But it won't really matter, other than I guess they'll kill Jugulis. But they've now wasted Hatterene, because Hatterene will die, and that's great. And then, just in case we need it. So they have Gleam, Trick Room, and Helping Hand. All great information to have. They're going to go for Ice Beam and Gastron. That will kill, but I'm pretty okay with that, because I can now just bring in Rillaboom here. And then, honestly, Rillaboom plus Diancie goes hard. It goes so hard here. So we're going to go into Rillaboom. Okay, perfect. I'm assuming they're going to be Rindo Berry on the Gastron for the record. They're going to go into Annihilate. Perfectly fine. Okay. So I'm going to go for my Swords Dance this turn. Assuming that Gastrodon will either go for A, it'll have Rindo Berry and take this hit, or B, it will go for some sort of like Ice Beam here. So I'm gonna go for a Reflect, and then I'm just gonna glide it on the following turn. And Annihilate will probably go for either a Protect or a Bulk Up here. I'm assuming Bulk Up will be the play, and I'm perfectly fine with that, because my Rillaboom will comfortably take this. Again, it's not really a threatening Pokemon in my opinion without getting set up for several turns. They're gonna go for Terra Steel anyway, which, again, it's the expected Terra for them in all honesty. But I do still have Gholdengo in the back, and I also have high horsepower for this mon, and I out-setup it, so I'm not really too concerned. In fact, now that they popped this, I could actually maybe even just go for the Annihilate, in all honesty. They'll go for Drain Punch. They do outpace, perfectly fine. They do no damage. Annihilate versus Rillaboom. If we are +2 and they go for a Terra Steel here, we actually could comfortably kill this. We could definitely kill this mon. They're going to go for Earth Power, so they were anticipating the Terra there. Very unfortunate call, but it works out in my favor, obviously. Now I can just target Gastrodon. We do know they have Ice Beam and Earth Power. I could just kill the Gastrodon, which I think is my best call. I feel like it's my best call. And then I think I might even make a ballsy play and just switch out into Gholdengo here, just to get a better position on the field. Because Rage Fist will not be boosted, so it's not going to deal a lot of damage. Meanwhile, my opponent also, even if they go for like a Bulk Up this turn, or really whatever they want to go for, it shouldn't be a huge deal, because I don't think that Ape can kill me through screens. It definitely can kill me through screens. What am I saying? Yeah, it probably will not even be like a 3-hit kill through screens. Yeah, versus Gholdengo with a Reflect Up. I am kind of curious, actually. They're going to switch out. Perfectly okay. And yeah, Ape cannot do shit to me. Ape will literally 3-hit KO, which is fine. They're going to go into Chiyu. So Chiyu taking this much damage is huge, actually. And Chiyu being on the field also helps me a lot. Okay. So I can go for my Tera now. I feel like on Rillaboom. I can definitely go for it on Rillaboom. I also could maybe even just go for it on Gholdengo here. They don't know my Tera on Gholdengo. And Gholdengo versus Chiyu. So Tera Blast without Tera. That doesn't feel right. Like, that's a normal type Tera Blast. That doesn't feel right. Holy shit, that is right. What the fuck? This mon is so dumb. Can we talk about that? This mon is dumb, guys. It's a very dumb mon. I am going to go for the Protect here, though. And then I am going to go for the Tera Water. Now, this will make me have to switch on the next turn. I'm very okay with that, in all honesty. I don't think that Chiyu goes for Protect, though, for the record. And even if it does, I'll just double immediately into DNC. I think that Chiyu will instead try and Dark Pulse and kill my Rillaboom, though. And I think it's much better for my opponent. So we'll have to see what my opponent does about this. I think realistically that they try and anticipate the Tera Fire and then just fail to kill. Perfect. They let me go for this. That means they didn't go into Gastrodon, which means no Storm Chain popping. Which is great. That's very great. Okay. So what does Chiyu actually do here? Because I am kind of curious about what Chiyu does here. Again, it shouldn't really do a lot because I am Tera Water now. And then with my light screen up, even a Specs Chiyu should not kill me. It should guarantee not kill me. Tera Blast goes off. It actually outpaces both these Pokemon anyway, which is really good information. And then we kill the Chiyu, which is perfect. Okay. Slower than Gholdengo. That means that they're modest now. That's perfect. Okay. So it's just down to Gastrodon and Annihilate left. Okay. So that's very fine. What I'm going to proceed to do is I'm going to go for a Grassy Glide into the Gastrodon here. And then I'm going to switch out into Thea. The Tera Water will still help a lot with my Rage Fist calcs, which is huge for my Gholdengo, since even though this is +2, it will still not do a lot of damage to me. Meanwhile, if Gastrodon does not click Protect this turn, it dies, which is great because I can 1v3 Annihilate pretty comfortably, thankfully. They go for Protect. Okay, Protect is still fine. Because again, Ape cannot kill me. And I'll pop a Citrus this turn is really all that's going to happen, or Ape will go for another Bulk Up, and that's also very fine. So at this point, I just Focus Blast into the Ape. I know it's kind of a ballsy play, but I feel like I just Focus Blast the Ape and just murder it. Let's see. So really bulky Ape, even if it's like careful, right? Versus Gholdengo. Specs Shadow Ball doesn't do a lot of damage, but you know what does a lot of damage? Focus Blast. That 2 it KOs. That is still so little damage, I can't lie, but 2 it KOs. We are going to kill Gastrodon, though, because Gastrodon can be kind of a threat. Let me just make sure my screens are intact. Reflect still has 4 turns. Okay, that's the important one here. And then I'm going to go for... I'm just going to burn a turn and go for Light Screen, because I don't want to damage the Ape on accident. Because realistically, again, if I'm not seriously attacking the Ape, why bother? But we'll just keep them on in the field, in all honesty, because I don't want to give it Trick Room either, since that just hurts me. I could maybe switch into Gholdengo, but at this point, it's kind of a why let it, when I know that I outpace as well, and I could just kill the Gastrodon and then proceed to high horsepower until I win. It is going to be Rindo. That's fine. I'm +2, so we should kill. Perfect. Okay, Gastrodon is gone. It was Rindo Berry, which is good to note. So it's just Annihilate versus the world. Okay. It's like perfectly fine data foundation, because I'm realizing that this is fucking... My dock is failing me. That's fine. Okay. So Citrus Berry does proc here. And we've wasted a turn, which is great, because that's all I need Dancy to do at this point. Look at you go, Dancy. Okay, now that we're down to just Annihilate, I will just go for Diamond Storm plus High Horsepower here. Just for damage, really. Not that because it doesn't really matter if I'm taking a Rage Fist or not at this point anymore. Because again, my end game is always to click Focus Blast. The game does ride on Focus Blast, to be fair, but it is always my end game. So I need to just rip that Bandit off and click it. Because Ape is doing surprisingly... I mean, it's actually doing a lot of damage, to be fair. But anyway, my point is, I just need to kill. They're going to go for full. Okay, that's perfectly fine, because they're letting me now take this hit. And then I can proceed to just get the High Horsepower off. This move should do a considerable amount. Yeah, that's some good damage right there. That's Focus Blast range at this point. Like, guaranteed Focus Blast range. Okay. We do raise our defense, which is kind of funny. It doesn't really matter, but it is kind of funny nonetheless. Okay, perfect. So you know as well that we are slower. I'm going to go for Protect here, and then I'm just going to set up a Trick Room. Oh, shit. No. I don't want to run. I'm going to go for Protect, and I'm going to set up a Trick Room. The logic being is I think that Ape will target Rillaboom because it's the actual offensive threat, and if I can underpace them, I get another High Horsepower turn, which is huge. They're going to Rage Fist. Okay, perfect. So they did go into Rillaboom. Yeah, so I will go for High Horsepower, and then I'm going to immediately reset the Trick Room, because now that means that my opponent has to target Dancy, which is great. So I will go for that instead. If my opponent calls that good play on Cherry's end, I've just let Cherry get more leftovers recovery, I guess. But I feel fine in this play, because again, I don't think Cherry will just play around calling the double Trick Room. But if he does, again, that's fine. I can still kill with Focus Blast potentially, because this Ape has some offense. I'm just not sure how much. We know it outpaces Rillaboom as well, which is good to know. I think I do have some speed in my Rillaboom. I do not have speed. Okay, so then it should just naturally outpace. It could be 0 speed. We don't actually know. High Horsepower is off. Perfect. Okay. So if they're targeting the Annihilate now, the Rillaboom now, then that means that Trick Room will go back up. If they're targeting Dancy, then that means I have the position I want. Perfect. Okay. So this works out really well. I can now guarantee get up the position that I want, and Annihilate cannot even go for any sort of protect around my Focus Blast. So as long as I hit my Focus Blast, I do guarantee win the game. Tera Water does not do enough to Annihilate. I do need to hit that Focus Blast to guarantee win. But it is still obviously an important calc to make. So, this mon is now +3. I think it has like 4 Rage Fist boosts as well. Like it's killing me. It's guaranteed killing me. So yeah, we're gonna go for Focus Blast here, and then I'm gonna go for a Reflect here, just in case my opponent tries to protect. It obviously helps me a little bit, at least forcing a turn where they're gonna have to go for a Rage Fist. Also, because technically speaking, if it's not any attack invested, oh, never mind, I can't take that hit anymore. Yeah, it'll do too much. It's still fine though. It's still fine. Focus Blast again should guarantee kill, and then Ape should guarantee die. So we're just kind of in the position of my opponent now, having to go for the kill. We'll go for Diamond Storm just in case, but it shouldn't really matter a lot. Focus Blast does go off. We win the game. Perfect. We get the 2 out. Honestly, a really solid game. Like that literally came down to Focus Blast. So my opponent very easily could have had that. They could have very easily won to game 3, but solid. Shout out to Cherry for an amazing set, and if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe for more. Now, I will say, I don't actually know what our season record is, because I'm playing this right before my game against QSN, but I am going to edit in the outro as well as the members cut at a later point, when it's a little bit closer to the video going up, because this is like 9 days ahead. So we'll see you guys with that cut. I'll be probably wearing a different shirt.
If you guys enjoyed today's battles and you want to see more MDA content like this, make sure again to remember to leave a like on the video. We're aiming for 30 likes in today's battles, so hopefully you guys enjoy. With that said, of course, also consider becoming channel members, because for just a couple dollars a month, we do have for the $2.99 a month tier, where you guys can get a ton of bonus content right now. We have 2 extra videos a month where you guys get to figure out what new Pokemon are going to be relevant in the meta and just how to use them. Meanwhile, for $5 a month, you guys can also get some nice team building support, which should hopefully help you guys improve, with 1 team a month of your choice that we get to work on. With that said, of course, our current channel members are Zeke Zero, Mia, Timo Mueller, Rao Sakura, Obo, Johannes B, The Double, Endless Gadgets, Bam Bambi, Josh K Ultra Player, and Incog. Your guys' support on the videos is greatly appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future supporting the tier. With that said, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video, where we're going to be featuring Tyranitar off of the team that recently did well at Sacramento Regionals. Until then, peace out, guys.